Hey MediaHeads, this is Steve. I wanted to talk to you about a really cool project that we just finished up out at Possum Kingdom Lake. We have a client who lives locally in the Dallas area. He tasked us with setting up his lake house with all the smart home devices that we did for him here locally. We pulled together a system for him that consists of a real nice media rack, audio, video, automated shades, smart thermostats, smart alarm, security system, surveillance, lighting, lots of different components of this system that made it really unique and really fun. And at the end of the day, it's really simple for the client to use the apps and enjoy and kind of bring it all into one place. We didn't pre-wire this house, so it really wasn't to our standards in terms of like what we would have run for a boat dock. There was one cable available at the outside, like the furthest point of the house that was closest to the boat dock. No power nearby. We were able to find the one wire to get from like that corner of the house over to the closet that's here in the boat dock itself. The run is too long. If we were to just say plug it into a network switch and go from the AV closet in the house all the way out to the boat dock, got a weatherproof box off of Amazon, and then inside of there is a PoE powered network switch. So it doesn't need hard power like 120 volts. It's powered off of basically an injector in the closet, and it helps us as like a midway point from getting from the closet over to the boat dock. And then we drilled into the bottom of the box and put these screen meshes in place so that some air could circulate. But we did have to trench wire, so we did some direct burial wire kind of down the driveway and across the rocks there to get to the underside of the bridge. Everything is in conduit. Want to try to minimize a wire getting cut or something like that. We just needed that one network connection to at least give the rack that was in the boat dock access to the main network. We retrofit and ran the outdoor wiring that could, withstand weather and heat for 4 speakers. So we have 2 on the lower level, 2 outdoor speakers below. They're surface mounted, and the 2 that were above on the upper deck. The ones on the lower one pointed out towards the lake because they wanted to be able to hear music while they were swimming. And it's 2 different Sonos zones because the sound requirements for the space below versus the space above would likely be played at different volumes. We also wired for a couple of cameras. What we kind of start with here is an in-house rack build. We get all the parts and we build those racks here in our office, in our warehouse. Part of what that does for us is it allows for us to test all the gear. We get it all set up, get the rack nicely labeled, wire runs are good. We can get most of the system up and running here in our shop before we leave for the job and for the physical installation. One of the main backbones of your audio video system is going to be your home network. We put in one of Eero's newest Wi-Fi products, the Eero PoE 6 Wi-Fi access points. So these get mounted really nicely in the ceiling. There's no hardware sitting out, no cords or cables. So you get this real nice aesthetic and a good look. We were able to pull new wire. We did have to retrofit some of these. We pulled new Ethernet cabling into a couple of the rooms so that they were put in kind of an ideal spot to give them the best coverage. One of the really nice parts to this system is the audio video rack and that equipment build in the closet itself. The wire management, the labeling, we wanted to make it easy for the customer to be able to troubleshoot the system. And another component is controllable surge protectors. Inside that rack, we have Wattbox IP surge protectors. We can also just log in and remotely power cycle his network, the Sonos gear, network switches, cameras, really any of those devices that may have issues over time. We mounted TVs in several rooms of the house. Given that it's a lake house, we tend to have a couple challenges. We're limited on the speeds that are available from the local provider. This house specifically had Starlink, so that's a satellite-based internet service. It got a pretty good signal. I think Starlink was bringing in about 60 meg of internet service, which is going to be plenty for general usage around the house. And so we decided to go with Roku Ultra devices mounted behind each television so that they're hidden, they're easy to access. What that gives the client the ability to do is use the Roku remote to control the whole system in each room. They can also manage the speakers in the ceiling from the Roku remote. We were able to really kind of simplify the system. We did a really nice Sonos system in this house. There are 9 zones of Sonos audio. Each of those zones is powered by a Sonos amplifier, which is connected to a pair of Sonos either in-ceiling, in-wall, or outdoor speakers. In a couple of the rooms, we added some REL subwoofers to really up the audio quality, to give them some of that low end when they're watching a movie, or maybe turn up the music a little bit louder. The patio, we did some Sonos in-ceiling speakers. The ceiling accents were black, can light, trim, and a few of the other devices. We custom painted those grills just to kind of match the style. We did some black outdoor Sonos speakers that were mounted under the soffit, and those played towards the pool. All in all, the look is really nice. They kind of blend in with the environment. The indoor and outdoor audio solution for the house, the pool area, and the boat dock sounded really good. We set up his house with an alarm.com account, which is tied into a security system. When he's gone, he can log in to the app or hop on the app and quickly arm it and disarm it. He can set up user codes for family or friends who want to come out to the lake house. It also gives him the ability to control the whole house, to set schedules, to set scenes. Some of those control features are for simple arming and disarming the system, so he gets notifications. It alerts him and local authorities if there's an issue at the house. That also ties into his surveillance. We did some alarm.com cameras around the perimeter. We gave him control of his garage doors. We also tied in controlled lighting around the house through Lutron with some nice Radio Raw 2 dimmers and switches. The house originally had paddle switches. They turned lights on and off, and that was about it. He wanted to be sure that when he was gone, lights weren't left on, just to create scenes so that at different times of day, lights turned on and off to make it seem like somebody was home. Right next to the bank of light switches there is the Somfy Shades remote. That remote talks to shades in the family room, in the kitchen, in the front entryway, and the big shade that we did over the giant family room window that's actually an outdoor shade. And that can also be controlled on the app through alarm.com. The shades in this house were kind of different for a couple of reasons. The fascias you see, which are the black boxes above the shade, are all black. We were working with an interesting window framing design. It was like a multi-layered wood frame border around each of the shades. It made it a little bit difficult, I think, just in terms of the size the shade needed to be and the length of the fabric to be able to cover up potential light gaps or light openings around the framework. It turned out to look really nice. The fascias blended really well with the window finish, so when the windows were open, that fascia blends really well with the trim of the windows. Where the windows were really close to each other, we didn't really have the option of going with one larger shade. We had to kind of break it down to more smaller shades to be able to fit into the corners of the spaces. It turned out really well. Shades are one of those things where we tend to have a lot of design-centered conversations with the client, with fascia and fabric selections and all those things. Another thing we did from a shading standpoint is their family room has a giant sliding door. The client didn't want to see the hardware inside the house. We ended up putting it outside as opposed to going with an indoor shade. But what we did is we mounted this over the patio sliding door. The box for the shade itself is black, so it matches with the door. It kind of just looks like an extension from the top of the door. There's a ton of sun that comes in from that area, and it makes the living room a lot cooler and a lot more comfortable without having that real bright glare. From the inside of the space, you can still look out and see the lake. Gives you really good visibility out to the boat dock and all those things. Whereas from the outside, if you're looking in, it gives you some pretty good privacy. As part of that outdoor living space, put in a Samsung Terrace 55-inch TV. They get a whole lot of wind and dust and some pretty aggressive storms out there at the lake. We decided to go with the Terrace TV. We put a cover on it, and it's on a swing arm, so he can swing it out kind of past that vent-hood so they can see it from a couple different areas there on the patio. But to kind of wrap up on this project, it was really cool kind of working in that environment, just knowing that when we were done with this job, that everything went the way that it should. The client's gonna have an amazing time with it, entertaining friends and family. Yeah, sound is fun, TVs are great, watching movies is excellent, but a lot of these things are geared around security, safety, privacy, comfort, and I feel like we were able to really dial in on a lot of those things for the client. Where we always go back to is simplicity. We want for our customers to be able to use our systems. In order for us to really do our jobs right, we have to build these systems that are simple for them to use. This one was a lot of fun, and hopefully there's more to come.
Get away to where the boat leaves from. It takes away all of your big problems. You could worry, you could drop them in the blue ocean, but you gotta get away to where the boat